Wrestling fans, welcome back to the BostonWrestling.com super site. I am proud to have with us right now the Millennium Wrestling Federation champion, the one, the only World Key. Key, thank you for joining us tonight.
Well, thank you for having me.
A lot to talk about here in the Millennium Wrestling Federation, here, there, and everywhere, New England, North Carolina. The one thing that hasn't been touched base upon was certainly to congratulate you on what was certainly an unexpected twist with you leaving our 10th anniversary as the Millennium Wrestling Federation Heavyweight Championship due to the shenanigans of John Layfield's uprising and John Cena Sr. trying to create a stir. Your thoughts on becoming now the face of the Millennium Wrestling Federation, so to speak?
Well, I mean, it was definitely a big surprise, not something that I expected that morning of the event. And it's just funny how things turn out. I'm now recognized as the Millennium Wrestling Champion. And, I take great pride in being a champion and upholding the integrity of a championship.
Absolutely. That brings up actually a point that was discussed a lot last week. We had your first championship defense successfully against John Walters on the December Cyberstars program. But I'll ask for your input on this, even though you are involved. But someone asked me last weekend where you would rank amongst the current crop of world champions right now. In WWE, you have CM Punk and Daniel Bryan. In TNA, you have Bobby Roode. And I gave it a great deal of thought, but I'd have to say, match for match, move for move, as far as an intensity level goes, I would have to go with Low Key.
No, it's much appreciated. I guess in their respective companies, they're the top class, the top of the class at the moment. I guess it depends on what you're looking for in regards to being regarded as a champion. Being a champion in WWE is different than being a champion in TNA. Being a champion in both of those companies is different than being a champion in Japan. And, I guess it depends on what it is you're actually looking for by comparison, because those environments are all different. So you have to take that, with consideration. As far as myself, I never go in with the mindset of anyone is better than me. My intent, my performance is to go out there and to be world class, to be an elite performer, and to prove that, my skill level is higher than everyone else's. So, I mean, if you ask me personally, I can match up. I can go toe-to-toe with any of those guys at any given day, and I know I'm credible and qualified enough to beat them.
Yeah, it was also pretty interesting that thanks to our relations with WWE, that not only you, but we had Daniel Bryan compete in an MWF ring this year when he was the U.S. champion, I believe, at the time. Right now, pretty much, it's almost a youth movement in the world of professional wrestling. How does that make you feel just as an observer right now? A lot of the guys that you broke up into the business with and were contemporaries of now finally breaking through the glass ceiling, so to speak, and really being able to showcase their ability inside the ring of the king of sports.
Well, to me, it's you're only as good as your competition. So in regards to breaking in through that glass ceiling, I have a dispute against that, only because at this era, this stage of the game, Daniel Bryan and CM Punk are not competing with the most successful main eventers of the company's history. And to me, that era had passed during the Attitude Era in the early 2000s. So I congratulate them. I'm proud of them for their successes, but the competition pool is not the same as it was. So to me, you need to prove yourself against the guys, the top earners, the most marketable people, to prove your worth and to prove your value, and you have to match them. Again, WWE, respectively, is a different environment. Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, The Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, elite performers that garnered high price tags and developed a lot of revenue for the company. Do Bryan Danielson and do CM Punk, do they match those names in regards to business, in regards to developing revenue and excitement for the company, the way that the men that I have mentioned before had. In regards to Bobby Roode, that's even more. It's a different environment than WWE, is he competing against the most skillful professional wrestlers or even entertainers to their whatever it is that they're presenting? Is he competing and surpassing the highest skill level that TNA has to offer? And to me, the answer is no. Let me be fair here. I don't watch the product. I don't watch either WWE or TNA. But just from experiencing both companies and knowing the era that we're in at this state in pro wrestling, to me, it's, they've risen, which is great, and they've been a success. But the competition pool is not as deep as it used to be. So to me, it's kind of like, I congratulate them, but to me, it seems like there's more that they need to prove before I can recognize them as champions.
Very interesting observation. I kind of look at this current day and age almost like a 1996 when it came to what mainstream wrestling was in the United States, where, like you said, there really wasn't a deep, tremendous talent pool. A lot of the guys that were the marquee attractions were starting to age, and it was a new crop rising. It'll be interesting to see if the aforementioned names reach those levels within 4, 5, 6 years or so, as the Austins, Rocks, Triple H's, and so on and so forth did in the mid-'90s as it merged into the Attitude Era.
Well, I think it's the success of the Attitude Era showcased something that's very important, and that is experience. Those men who were in the Attitude Era, a majority of them were already seasoned veterans by the time that era came. So they were very well equipped to perform at a high level and to the degree and the liking of Vince McMahon and his business model. So they were very well equipped to excuse me one second. They were very well equipped to perform and to deliver an idea. With CM Punk, with Daniel Bryan, or Bryan Danielson, I feel that they're seasoned as well, but I don't feel they have the same crop of guys around them who can step up, the same crop of guys around them who can deliver individually as well as collectively to make this an exciting era. So I think it's a difference between those eras and this one.
Well, it's certainly going to be interesting to see what happens over the next few years. I think everyone realizes it's a time for new generations, so to speak, not to steal the tagline from 1994. But here in the Millennium Wrestling Federation, it seems to get more interesting and exciting by the day. We have John Cena Sr.'s financial goal of trying to relocate the company from the Boston area to North Carolina. We have our final destination, SOUL Survivor VIII event, Saturday, March the 24th. And what a lineup we have on hand. In addition to yourself, we have the debut of the veteran Finlay. I don't think you can put an age on that man with what he's still capable of doing inside the ring. We have the return of Carlito, multi-time WWE U.S. Intercontinental Tag Team Champion, the evil genius himself, Paul Bearer. You talk about wild and crazy from his days as a sheep herder. A little bit more amusing as a bushwhacker. Luke will be on hand. John Cena Sr. himself. Talk about a top six. And that's just the beginning. We have a free charity show in the afternoon, all kinds of raffles, auctions, all to keep the kids off the street. I don't know if you had seen it on the BostonWrestling.com super site this week, but the Millennium Wrestling Federation was recognized as a Special Olympics partner for the second year in a row, and that's something we take a lot of pride in. So March 24th is certainly shaping up to be a great night right here in Melrose, Massachusetts. And the question that I think on most folks' mind is, with the roster we have in hand right now, A, who would you like to compete against? B, do you think the board of directors right now have anyone in mind outside of the Finlay-Dylan Cage match that's already been announced for you to put the championship on the line against?
Well, I'm a fighting champion. I've never been a champion that hid from anyone. If anyone thinks they can take it off of me, I invite them to come try. You know, I would be more than happy to face somebody the likes of Finley. I'd be more than happy to face Carlito. I mean, I believe Shelton Benjamin was a previous champion. I'm not hiding from anybody. You want to call me the face of the Millennium Wrestling Federation? I'm the face. I'm out right in front. So there's plenty of bodies out there who claim greatness or claim success. By all means, I'm not talking about anything. I do all my talking when that bell rings. So if anyone's out there and listening, you're more than welcome to step up. I can name a ton of guys from all the many companies that I've wrestled. You know, I can go to Japan, just Kenta from Pro Wrestling Noah, Prince Devitt from New Japan Pro Wrestling, Kaz Hayashi, All Japan Pro Wrestling, Masato Tanaka, 01 Pro Wrestling. Companies I've faced many, many different types of competition. Coming to the United States, Davey Richards is one. Go to Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, somebody who's very popular over there, El Generico. Somebody who no one really discusses, MVP. Good friend of mine, but business is business. Once that bell rings, friendship's out the window. It's competition. So I'm not a champion that hides behind his belt. If you want to come fight me, you want to come try to take the Millennium Wrestling Federation Championship away from me, I invite you to. But I be forewarned, it's not going to be easy. I'm experienced. I have a high degree of skill, and I have a high sense of pride in maintaining the integrity of a champion. So by all means, if you have somebody in mind, if the board of directors has someone in mind that they feel is qualified and they feel is a qualified challenger to a championship, I'm all for it.
Well, I find that very interesting. I know that John Layfield's representative, Slick Wagner Brown, $1 million investment, Tommaso Ciampa, have been eyeing the gold. Someone like Die Hard Eddie Edwards, I believe that would be a tremendous matchup. But it seems like, without exactly coming out and saying it, you're willing to put the championship on the line against anyone in the Millennium Wrestling Federation or even outside of the Millennium Wrestling Federation. Is that an accurate assumption?
That's a very, very accurate assumption. A champion takes on all challengers. If you have a ranking system, I'll take anybody in the top 10. If you want to really refine it, I'll take anybody in the top 5 or make it very elite, the top 3. But I'm not hiding. I treat this with a lot of respect because the bottom line is giving the people their money's worth. People want to come and enjoy these competitions. Well, hey, who am I to deny them? Let's lay it out all on the line in the ring. Let's give these people something to talk about.
Well, there's certainly going to be a lot to talk about on March the 24th. As we mentioned, John Cena Sr., Bushwhacker Luke, Paul Bearer, Carlito, Finley. But if you want to talk about one of the elite athletes in this sport right now, it's the man wearing the Millennium Wrestling Federation Heavyweight Championship belt, low-key. He's competed around the world. X-Division champion. He won the WWE NXT competition. He has done it all. As I said, he is in his prime, and he's basically calling out the world. Anyone within the MWF, anyone outside of the MWF, if they want to crack at the gold, line up.
That's exactly what I mean.
Unbelievable. Fans, the plot is thickening. Soul Survivor VIII, Saturday, March the 24th, from the historic Memorial Hall in Melrose, Massachusetts. VIP packages and tickets are on sale now at bostonwrestling.com, beginning at just $15 as we continue our great efforts to keep the kids off the street. Key, I know you're a very busy man. I thank you very much for taking a time out to speak with us tonight. Any final thoughts for the fans on what is a very exciting new era for us here in the MWF with you as the face of the organization?
Well, I take pride in being a champion. And pro wrestling as a whole has changed very, very it's changed a whole lot since it's you know, the pinnacle of it, which seemed to be during the Attitude Era. And I want this profession as a whole to redevelop and reconnect with the viewers, reconnect with the audience, reconnect with the people the way it should. I feel as WWE and TNA, they've lost that model of developing a very strong relationship with the audience, with the people, the paying customer, the way they should, because they've gone corporate. In a corporate atmosphere, people are no longer people because they're reserved as numbers. I want all that to go away. I want to reconnect with the audience. I want to reconnect with the people as people. I want them to come to MWF. I want them to enjoy themselves, and I want them to feel as if they can be a part of our successes. They can be a part of our successes as well as our failures, but they're along with us for the ride. So as we enter this new millennia or this new decade, I want them to understand I'm in this for the long haul. I'm a fighting champion. I'm not going anywhere. And if anybody wants to challenge me, all they got to do is show up.
I love what I'm hearing, fans. You heard it from the champion's mouth himself. Key, again, I thank you for joining us.